Hey everyone, Strangers103 here. Welcome to Optimizing Operation Cherry Blossom. This video is all about trying to teach you guys all about the spawns that I figured and learn, along with a little bit of tips and tricks on how you can optimize your experience gain per minute by playing this operation, along with how you can best increase your chances of getting 2,500 base experience games. I've had a lot of games with 2k plus. I've had games with 2,500 base XP. By the way, that's the same as a clan battle to win. And it's actually a pretty reliable way of getting good experience. So let's kick this straight off. I'll be pausing the video at some points in it, and one of them is right now. Speed up a little bit so I can actually see. If you spawn in a Charles Baguette over there, sail in a straight line, just engine boost, straight line, don't do anything fancy. If you're in Edinburgh, well, you're useless. If you get a radar cruiser spawn somewhere around about here, wait until 1940-ish, you'll have your guns engaged, even in Baltimore. Wait for your guns to engage, radar, at about 20 seconds in. They'll spawn a little bit earlier than that, but you'll be in range to cover them for the entire duration of the radar and engage. There's two Shiratsuyus that spawn around about here, heading this way, two that spawn a little bit further up that head this way. Deal as much damage as you can, get as much XP out of them, that's basically your objective, so let's play ball. Now, if you're in this kind of a cruiser spawn, there's two ways of doing it. If you have the intention of killing the Zows and the Aobas, I'll be careful about that later on, I'll get to that. Then you can turn guns to starboard and head up here, and you'll, as you can see, be able to engage these guys with guns on starboard, and you'll be able to move your ship further up with perfect turret management. Anyways, we're going to open up. I recommend that you target the closest Shiratsuyu possible because higher chances of it getting more hits, better dispersion, better damage, better XP. Now once you see a target that low on HP, I wouldn't bother shooting at it, let someone else have it. The kill isn't worth getting, the possibility of getting another 2,000 or 3,000 damage on someone else. Like, if someone's like less than 1,000 health and you see a full HP target, go for the full HP target, the kill's not worth it. The kill XP is minimal, it's negligible in that sense, I wouldn't bother. But anyways, as you can see, the other Shiratsuyu is getting farmed, and I see a rather full HP one, and it seems like everyone magically had the same idea to shoot the higher HP one, so the lower HP one doesn't take any real damage for the next little bit of time. I see someone else got shots off that already, so I'm going to swap to the other one and go for the kill on the last Shiratsuyu. I mean, basically, you know, there's 4 Shiratsuyus there with, like, I think 15,000 health, and well, if there's 7 of you and you get more than 10k, you know that in general your team got really shafted. Either that or you managed to get all the damage. Now, if you're in Charles Baguette, if you're in a Baltimore, you've got large enough caliber guns, the Citadel, the Miyokos that spawn here and here. In this case, with the Baltimore, if you spawn kind of on the northern half of the spawn group, guns to starboard, it'll take you time to get your number 3 over. Now, we're gonna slow it down to half speed here as well, while I cover some other things. You can see that Magilu and Stress, we're in a division here, obviously, are heading up here. These guys are gonna counter the Aoba spawn. There's one here and one here. They'll be heading down like this. Now, if you're doing this solo, be very careful about doing this. Those Aobas are not gonna kill you. Everything else will. Those Aobas they seem to have the spawn logic that if you are the one targeted by those Aobas, i.e. the first one spotted by them, you will also be focused by every single other cruiser that spawns later, including Zows. So be careful about this one. Pushing the Aobas is risky. Now let's put it back on full speed again as we continue. The Charles and the Cleaverlol, Stress and Magi are soon going to get in combat. Now these Miyokos, they don't move forwards until impacted. So if you get the first shot off, you can get the first shot off, aim at engineering if you want. If you get a little bit later on, you want to aim for the magazine. You want to aim for the magazine with your guns, the shells will fall on the engineering. But if you have enough 8-inch cruisers, you can easily kill the first Miyoko before it's a problem at all. And there you go, the Aobas are spawned. And in this case, I think Magi is their focus target. We'll see. Let's see what these Aobas aim at. Yeah, it's Magi. So Magilu is going to have to be careful later on once we go to engage the South. Now, our intention is to go fight the South. Now, at this point, once you reach about this area, you can radar with any radar cruiser in this kind of an area. You'll also spot a Shiratsuyu and a Kagero. And of course, you can engage them for a little bit of bonus experience. Normally, your team just heads south there. If you're in a Charles Baguette that got the South spawn, Once you kill the first Miyoko, guns to starboard, head up in this kind of a direction. You want to head straight. You'll usually be around about the 7 line. Just head straight north. So that Charles would have been around about here. He should be heading straight towards my position. That's if you're in a Charles Martel and you get the southern spawn. That's the move you want to make to optimize your experience gains. A little bit of potato aiming here, but we're basically gonna kill this Kagero. Once you kill the Kagero, the enemy group over there pretty much decides, nah, we've had it. Our tier 8's dead, let's just run away. So if you kill the Miyoko, you deal some damage to this guy, you kill this destroyer group over here, and by this time, usually this guy will be turning around, and there you go, fire the surface target cease, they kind of just start heading away. So, there you go. Now, you've saved the 9th Regiment. It's usually the 9th Regiment that ends up suffering the most amount of a beating. And coming into the middle, killing the Aobas, killing the 2 destroyer spawn, generally makes them run away. It's no problem. Now, gonna stop it here as well. Once you're at this point, you're usually going to have your... If you're in a Cleveland or a Baltimore, you're usually going to be somewhere around about here. If you're in a Charles Martel, you're going to be somewhere around about here. There's another Aki... At this point, there's an Aki spawn here. There's a Shiratsuyu spawn here. A Shiratsuyu spawns here. A Shiratsuyu spawns here. So if you have a torpedo... If you're in a torpedo ship, you'll be usually around about somewhere here. You can launch one set of torpedoes at the corner of the island, and then take, if you're in a Charles Martel, double widespread. So 1 widespread, 2 widespreads, and launch the second set till it's there. You're going to Kutuzov, 1 set there, 1 set, 1.5 widespreads, or 2, I think it's 2.5 thin spreads, almost 3 thin spreads. So 1 at the corner of the island, there's 1, 2, 3, launch it over there. And basically you're here, 1 there, and very often you'll get the torpedoes close enough to the Shiratsuyu group that spawns there. I've even had games where I just blind top them down, so that's potentially a little bit of bonus. But here's a critical thing I want to talk about. Strefs has caught the Zows, which means these Zows... Normally, if you do this slowly, you'll see that these guys just head up here and then head out of the map. Your carriers will also be here. This is important to know. If you spot them, or you get too close to their spawn, they'll head south and engage you, and this carrier group will no longer go here and then up. They'll go here, and they'll turn around again and head back south again. So be careful of that, or if you're a real dick and you've got people low HP, you can do that to keep them out of the game so you can get more XP. But chances are, you do this kind of a move alone, you'll die. Anyways, let's play on. There's an Aki spawn there, like I said. There's a Shiratsuyu spawn over there, I think. Well, the Shiratsuyu is already there. There's another poi up there and another poi up there. And there you go, they get spotted. I think the Cleveland decided to radar. Very good move by him. Now these Zows, if you do catch them, they'll kind of like head further south of this island, like this way, and then sometimes they'll go back up here. It's a bit weird. But I do not recommend you try this move on your own. Especially if you became focus target for the Aobas. But anyways, I'm pretty sure that was stress radaring. We've done this a few times at this point. But Magilu's is reasonably confident she's the focus target, and also she's the only one spotted. So yeah, well, a Charles Martel fighting 3 Zows is unlikely to yield very positive results for the Charles Martel. I'm putting it that way. So she's gonna get hammered, and well, just kind of needs to head away, but hey, damaging the Zows is damaging the Zows, I suppose, and if you do this kind of a thing, you basically have the intention of dealing with the Zows to begin with. And there you go, you can see that the angling there is really awkward for them. At this point, you'll have used 2 radars. What you can do is to radar first, and then the moment your next radar is ready, if you're heading up into the 5-6 line as a radar cruiser, your second radar comes online at around about the time you'll spot the Aobas. But be careful again, you don't want to be the one spotted and engaged by said Aobas. It may not be for the better of your long-term survivability, and if your long-term survivability is horrible, and if you haven't gotten 150,000 damage at this point, you're not getting good XP. Now, while we're gonna shoot up this last Zao, yeah, you're gonna watch some really horrible RNG with the Zao now. But in general, a captain spec you want for this, you don't need IFHE as a Cleveland, you don't need IFHE as a Kutuzov. It's not necessary, it's nice to have, but it's not necessary. Yes, you can pan the Miyoko 32 deck with HE, but for the most part, you're looking for AP salvos anyways. And you want to have manual AA. Definitely you want to have manual AA. And you want to have at least 6 kilometer AA range. If you have these, you're set. Because the planes can give you a good amount of damage later on, well, experiences later on as well. If you're in a Baltimore, AFD manual AA, definitely recommend that. You don't need concealment, you don't need superintendent. 3 radars is, in general, enough. And now, let me just slow this down a little bit, because there's a lot of things to talk about. Our team finally managed to kill a Shiratsuyus. Actually, this Sadachi wasted drop. The reason you want to go counter this, and this spawn is to stop Sadachi, where is she? Sadachi and Bunker Hill, stop these two from dropping on those destroyers. You want to kill them early. It stops them from wasting their strike there. Those carriers, if you're not doing something ridiculously aggressive like we are, and by the way, Magi's died already, what you want to be doing is to kill these other small destroyers off there, because that stops the carriers from dropping them, and they'll kill some of the Shiratsuyus for you. They'll usually kill the first one that spawns over here and then heads up across there if you're slow. The carriers usually get the kill now, that's usually not a big deal, as I take a torpedo like a Nimrod. But it saves you the effort of trying to snipe a Shiratsuyu from 15 kilometers away with a bunch of Clevelands. You're not gonna have a good day trying that, right? So, do that. It's kind of better because you've got less torpedoes being spammed at you as well. Here comes the dive bombers. They're not really what you call useful. Anyways, back to full speed again. If you're in Baltimore, if you're not Charles Mattel, in this kind of an area, you can have a lot of AP loaded. It definitely ain't a bad thing. Planes are coming in. I'm pretty sure Arun was the focus target for that, and I'm pretty sure Strefs is the focus target for this aerodrome over there. So I'm basically just triggering my AA to just to help out as best as I can. Also trying to shoot as much AP as I can against broadside targets. Be careful though, these bots, in general, if you're not doing it the way we are right now, the Miyoko group, they'll basically come in, do a circle, torpedo, turn back around, and they'll basically just do circles in this kind of an area. So be aware of that, and try to figure out what target you can best shoot AP at. If you're in a Baltimore, having the battleship mentality of, oh, I should just shoot AP is very, in general, going to yield you good results. Until the enemies start basically just completely angling against you. Basically the stuff up there, they'll kind of head in here, they'll broadside the group over there, they'll turn here, which will broadside anyone up on, if you decide to sail up there. The group over there will kind of go around like this, they'll kind of do a weird circle there. Sometimes they'll do a weird circle this way and then back up again and broadside again, so again, just try to be careful of that and try not to get jebaited too much. And one of them even decides they want to drop on me. Actually, I think I might have been the... I was actually the focus target for this, the southern aerodrome. They have individual targeting, but they'll go for whoever the crap that gets spotted first is usually the guy that's going to find himself the focus of attention. Again, I leave this Miyoko on 300 health. I'm not wasting a salvo for that. My guns are turning. Someone else can kill that. It's not worth the XP. And it all gets the Artigo. Usually your Fletcher group, your Fletcher and Kid here, they'll spam a bunch of torpedoes at the Artigo. Which means that the Artigo comes in, and around about this kind of an area, Artigo usually ends up slowing down a little bit. So if you're shooting AP at that with a Cleveland from range, or shooting AP at that, shooting at it full stop, be careful, it has a tendency to slow down for a little area over there. If it spots any torpedoes, it will intern the torpedoes, normally, unless you are like us and you've broken the spawns at this point. Anyways, Miyoko's angled, no point wasting ammo with that. I'm gonna shoot AP at the destroyer. As a Baltimore, you can actually deal some okay damage to a destroyer with AP if you don't aim like a Nimrod and miss. But at this point, it's just mopping up. As long as you're not a focus target, you'll be just fine. The positions you can do it from, behind this island, you can't get Torp. This kind of an area, you can't get Torp. These guys don't rush you. Back over there, you can get some broadsides against people crossing. Over there, you can push through this area and get, again, some broadsides of people crossing this way. So basically try to manage your crossfires and also try to trigger your defensive AA as early as possible. It gets a cooldown available earlier as well. I did make the mistake of not triggering defensive early enough, but I'm in a full fishing spec, so it's not a major deal. The moment that defensive is ready, I'm going to push the button. You only need to kill 50 planes, and at this point I've almost done half of them. Actually, I have done half of the plane kills of my team in total. And it's going to help your experience gains a little bit. Still shooting AP like a twat, but hey, Miyoko's going to give me a bit of an inferior angle, so hopefully I'll be able to pick up the kill on that. Unless I get ridiculously unlucky and the Fletcher manages to get it, of all things. Again, if you're normally slow, the Fletchers will open fire immediately, so if you're in the back behind the Fletcher group, let the Fletchers open fire first. They'll suck all the attention of the aerodromes because they get spotted first. And you can pretty much not have to worry about dodging air torpedoes on top of surface torpedoes as well. But now it's basically mop-up. It's not the world's best game. I've had games with over 200,000 damage. I could have had 200,000 damage in this match if I didn't make a very big misjudgment with the AI. This carrier is actually coming for me. I don't have defensive anymore, so I'm actually going to get dropped in the bow like a idiot, and I'm going to end up taking this in the face. Not a major deal though. The rest of the Shiratsuyus and the rest of the spawns I wouldn't say are a major problem, so now it's just a matter of pushing up. Don't shoot the aerodromes, and if you get close to them, turn your secondaries off. Your secondaries will actually spam with them as well. No superintendent means I don't have a radar here. It's not a big deal. Someone else can always do the spotting. There's usually enough people that do so. Oh, and another thing to note, all the destroyers, they spam widespread torpedoes at you. It's not that difficult to dodge the vast majority of them. If you do need to dodge them, you can just always head back to the carriers, and normally Saratoga is in front of Bunker Hill, but because if you break the Zao spawn and cause them to come after you, the carrier positions they become a little bit weird, and sometimes Bunker Hill just runs away. It's actually kind of funny to see that. Anyways, again, I'm ignoring the lower HP Shiratsuyu, going for the higher HP Kagero. Not the best salvo against the Kagero. I would have probably gotten more finishing of Shiratsuyu there. But one of our Clevelands does it. I see the torpedoes coming in. I know that they're I can take one and live, but I figure there's still more spawns, so I don't really need the adrenaline rush. So I'm actually going to go dodge them. It's not a difficult dodge in a US cruiser like this, although I am shooting really poorly. And again, I'm opting to ignore the lower HP Shiratsuyu. All my guns are facing the Kagero. Not the best angle for a Kagero shot, but I might as well. And I'm going to finish off the Kagero and then load into armor piercing to engage that Aoba. Currently, I'm being baited by the Aoba. That Aoba isn't going to stay broadside to me. He's not going to sail into the island. These spawns up there head this way. The spawns here head this way. Don't worry, that's just my team speak. That's pinging, by the way. So yeah, you can still do some decent damage with a Baltimore to these lower HP targets because you do lull pen the superstructure and you do have the increased anti-deflection angles. But the Aoba's not going to turn away. I think the Aoba might be trying to torp me or something, but that's a really bad angle for an Aoba to be in against Baltimore, so I'm going to double citadel that for the finish. And now the team might as well, they're going to shoot the aerodromes, and unfortunately I get baited into firing here. This is the mistake I made. If I didn't fire there and I waited a few seconds, I waited 2 or 3 seconds, this Miyoko turns away, and if I shot a little bit earlier, like 2 seconds before I had the reload, I probably could have killed that Miyoko or wiped it for my 200,000 damage. But there you go, that is my current strategy for optimizing this operation, optimizing your experience farms. I'll show you guys some of the screenshots. I think I took some screenshots from my post-battle results screens. I'll just show them to you in the background here. I don't think I have the post-battle results screen for exactly this game. I'm not sure. If I do, you'll end up seeing it, but just to give you some screenshots of the potential XP you can have. To round it up again from the start, at the beginning of the match, if you have a northern group spawn and you're in a radar cruiser, turn your guns to the port side of the ship. That's the left side of the ship. Wait 20 seconds, radar, deal as much damage as you can. Focus on dealing damage, don't focus on kill stealing. Damage will trump kills and experience here for the most part. If you're in a Charles Martel, you have 2 options. If you want to go counter the Aoba group, go counter the Aoba group, but be careful, your armor is very bad. If you do find yourself a focus target of the cruisers, you're going to have a bad day. If you have a southern group, if you're in a southern group and you spawn in a Charles Martel, straight forward towards the Miyoko spawn, deal guns to port, kill as much damage to the destroyers at the start of the 4 Shiratsuyus, then turn your guns to starboard and prepare to head a little bit more towards the northeastern side of the map, eastern side of the map, and have your guns on the starboard side with AP loaded to try to deal as much damage as possible to the Miyoko. The first one, the closer you get, the better it is. After that, it's a matter of either at this point, you'll be also able to counter the Aoba group as well, or deal some damage to them if nobody else is going to do so. You might be able to pick up some bonus damage. But again, if you're in a radar cruiser, if you radar first, your next radar, your second radar with a premium consumable, and I'm just assuming you're running premium consumables here for the timings. If you have a premium consumable, your second radar will come online at around about the same time the Aobas will be beginning to look for a target. So you may want to consider holding fire for a little bit of time here and waiting for the Aobas to find something to shoot at. Because in my experience and from what I seem to see, those Aobas tend to focus the first thing they can see, and not just them, every subsequent cruiser on the enemy back group will also focus that same ship. So be careful of this one. It's a going for the Aobas is a double-edged sword. Anyways, counter the Aoba group. At the same time the Aoba spawns, a Shiratsuyu and a Kagero will be in front of them, leading the charge of the reinforcements of the Japanese Navy. Deal with the destroyers, deal with the Aobas, deal some damage to the Myokos. The Myokos will disengage and head away. I think the trigger point is the kill on... I think the killing both Aobas, the Shiratsuyu, and the Kagero kind of makes the Myokos stop engaging and turn tail and run. There's also Shiratsuyu there. He'll also turn tail and run. Anaki will spawn there, along with 2 Shiratsuyus north, and the Zaos will spawn at the same time around about here. I think the cruisers... I'm not sure about the rest of the cruisers. They may have already spawned, and they're just idle, or... they're approaching the surface combat area as the Zaos are running away. For some reason, the Zaos are running away. I don't know why, but if you spot the Zaos too early, if you spot them before the little island, then they will usually come back to haunt you and to take the fight with you, which will also often mess with your carriers and your repair point. Sometimes your repair point just goes somewhere else, and it's hilarious to watch your low HP cruisers run to chase it and make themselves completely irrelevant so you can farm more damage. If the enemy want to go kill your carriers, all for the better. It means it reduces the damage that your carriers deal, and therefore more XP you can farm. But you want to let them, the aircraft carriers that is, you want to let them kill off the first Shiratsui with their torpedo bomber drop. That's the optimum outcome possible, because it's just something that you don't want to be dealing with. You don't want to be spamming HE at that long range. It's kind of just a waste of ammo. The aerodromes will focus on whichever target is closest and spotted to them first. So again, if you're behind the Fletchers, let the Fletchers open fire on the Shiratsuyus first. And this is why it's important to kill the second destroyer spawn, because your carriers will waste drops on them. Don't let them. Kill them so the carriers don't waste drops. That way, the enemy Shiratsuyus in their naval area will be spotted by the carriers, and your Fletchers will instantly open fire. The Fletchers get spotted first. The Fletchers will take the full brunt of the attention of the first aerodrome attacks. All the better for you. Farm the planes, farm the damage, and don't have to worry about having to dodge aircraft carrier torpedoes along with enemy surface torpedoes. The Otago, the Fletchers will torp at the Otago, and the Otago will often slow down a little bit in the early stages of you having spotted it. Otago will also usually in-turn any torpedoes spotted, so be aware of that. If you're shooting AP at it, if you think that the Otago spotted the torpedoes, load HE, shoot it with HE. You're not going to get AP angles against it. It's a tier 8 ship, so you won't, even as a Baltimore, you won't get to just loll pen through the armor. Shoot HE, you'll have a much better time. And from there on, it's mostly just mopping up, deal as much damage as you can. If you're in a cruiser and you're able to get down the flanking sides, i.e. towards and kind of close to the island of the aerodrome, you'll often get some good AP salvos in. Otherwise, spam HE. Have a best time of it, and try to farm as much experience as you can. Experience per minute is perhaps not as interesting to everyone as XP per game once you start to use your signals, so don't shoot the aerodromes too early. The later you leave the aerodromes, the better it is, and the enemy spawns that come in at the end, they aren't really worth it so much, so just kill the aerodromes while there are no more enemy surface ships to engage. It's going to be much better for your XP per minute, and you're not sitting there waiting for spawns that might just never come. Anyways, I hope you guys found this helpful if you're trying to optimize your experience gains in Operation Cherry Blossom. Use this to the best of your effect. Also use this to try to avoid becoming the focus target and therefore losing out to XP because you have to head back to do some repairs. Oh, and another last thing to note, if you're in a Charles Martel at the start, you almost always end up becoming focus target for the start, so you might just have to use an engine boost to go back to the carriers to repair yourself a little bit and then head back into combat, which also has the added bonus effect of kind of wearing off a focus target or letting someone else become the focus target for a little bit of time. Because often you're going to be the one focused by the Aobas, especially if you're not careful with your timings. Yeah, I hope you find this useful. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. If you have a different strategy for your Operation Cherry Blossom experience farming, please do tell me in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your experiences. And if you guys have killed us out, also let me know. Hope you guys liked it. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!